In this video, we're going over the top 10 upcoming Xbox One games in 2016. It should be noted that in this video, we're only going to be covering games that are either exclusive or appearing on the Xbox One and PC. Let's get right into this. Number 10, Gigantic. Gigantic is a free-to-play online third-person shooter, and right away when you hear the term free-to-play, you're instantly skeptical. But hey, since the launch of the current-gen consoles, there have been some pretty decent free-to-play games. Gigantic focuses on team-based combat. Teams are composed of 5 players that are joined by a guardian, with the goal being to destroy the opposing team and their guardian. There will also be various heroes the player can pick from, similar to a MOBA. Gigantic releases sometime in 2016. Number 9, Cuphead. Cuphead is a gorgeous run-and-gun platformer. You obviously play as the title character Cuphead. You lose a bet with the devil and you spend the game in an attempt to repay that bet. The game has an action RPG world map, and there will be secret areas as well as a 2-player co-op mode. The game has a great old-school look, being developed with the Unity engine. Cuphead releases this year. Number 8, Fable Legends. With the Fable name, instantly gamers are gonna have big expectations for the game. Unfortunately, it might not be what you're expecting. Fable Legends is a free-to-play co-op RPG. The game revolves around 4 heroes and a villain. During each quest, the 4 hero characters use teamwork to accomplish their objectives, while the villain player opposes them with an army of creatures. All of the game's story can also be played single player using AI heroes as sidekicks and AI as enemies. It's possible to play through the single player as either a villain or a hero. Fable Legends releases this year.
Hey, I'm gonna call down this ice hailstorm over here, and the next guy's like, okay, great, I'll load my explosive shots and we'll take out all the enemies.
Number 7, RECORE. RECORE is an action-adventure game being developed by Concept and Armature Studio. We still don't know much about RECORE. All we've seen is a CGI trailer, but from that, you can tell that this game is extremely interesting. You play as a girl in a desert and there's robots all around. The girl has a grappling hook and also is accompanied by a robot dog. In the trailer, the dog self-destructs, defeating some of the enemy robots and also leaving behind his core. The girl picks up the core and places it in a new robot, and suddenly it comes to life and they recognize each other immediately, so you can tell there will be some interesting gameplay mechanics in this game. RECORE is set to release this year.
Welcome back, buddy.
Number 6, Inside. Inside is an upcoming puzzle platformer being developed by Play Dead. If you don't know who Play Dead are, they are the ones behind one of the best indie games of all time in Limbo. Development of Inside began in 2010 after the release of Limbo, and you can tell some of the elements from Limbo have transitioned on into Inside. Inside tells the story about a young boy as he struggles against evil forces trying to take over the world through experiments on human bodies. Just off the synopsis, you can tell Inside is gonna have an eerie vibe to it. The game releases sometime this year. Number 5, Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is the latest game from Rare, who for a long time was regarded as one of the best developers in the industry. Obviously, in recent years, they've kind of fallen under the wayside, but with Sea of Thieves, this is an attempt to once again raise their profile. This is another game we don't know much about. We obviously know that it's got a big pirate theme going for it, and user-generated content is a big aspect of the game, with players having the ability to craft their own custom stories. Outside of that, a lot about the game is still unknown. We do know that Sea of Thieves is scheduled to release in 2016. Number 4, Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3 is the latest in the Xbox exclusive sandbox shooter series. The original Crackdown was released back in 2007 and mainly gained fame for including the Halo 3 beta. Quickly did gamers find out that Crackdown in its own right was an excellent game. It was an absolutely chaotic sandbox, and that seems to be the case with Crackdown 3 as well. Possibly the biggest talking point about Crackdown 3 is the Microsoft Azure destruction engine, which will offer full-scale destruction. It should be noted that the full-scale destruction will only be available online, since Azure relies on that. In the campaign, only a limited degree of destruction will be present. Crackdown 3 releases in 2016. Number 3, Halo Wars 2. The original Halo Wars was released back in 2009, and it's surprising that it took so long for a sequel to be released considering that game's positive reception. Halo Wars did what a lot of console RTSs failed to do, and that's actually be designed with the console in mind. Halo Wars felt natural with the Xbox 360 controller, and while it didn't have the depth of PC RTSs, that's not really possible on a console anyway. Halo Wars 2 is being developed by Creative Assembly, who are famous for their work on the Total War games. Expect Halo Wars 2 to be released sometime before the end of the year. Number 2, Quantum Break. This game is being developed by Remedy, who worked on the exceptional Alan Wake on the Xbox 360. Quantum Break is a third-person shooter with a big focus on time-bending gameplay mechanics. The The main character Joyce can stop time temporarily to dodge attacks or freeze enemies. He can unleash a time blast and reverse direction of bullets. He also has a time shield and can perform a time dodge that allows him to dash quickly to evade attacks. There's also a show tied to the game. After playing a segment of the game, an episode of the show will play. The game tells the story of the protagonist while the show tells the story of the antagonist. During the beginning of each episode, you'll also be able to make choices that influence the state of the game and the story. Quantum Break releases on April 5th. Number 1, Gears of War 4. The latest in one of Microsoft's biggest franchise, Gears of War 4 is being developed by the Coalition. As far as looks and aesthetics, Gears of War 4 is a far cry from past titles. While character armor and weapons are still similar, as far as things like setting and design, Coalition are definitely adding their own flavor to the game opposed to what Epic Games did. Some may be upset that Gears 4 follows new characters, but with a new team of developers, it's time for Gears to change it up. But expect it to feature the traditional cover-based third-person shooter gameplay that at this point we're all very familiar with. Gears of War 4 should release by the end of the year.
Jamie, could use some help here!
That wraps up our countdown of the top 10 upcoming Xbox One games in 2016. What do you think? Are you excited about the Xbox One's lineup? What games are you picking up? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.